Garry, thank you for joining me today. We're on stanza 15 of Psalm 119, and we're on Semek. And this says support, hold up, lean upon, and laying on of hands. So this was the 15th stanza and the Hebrew Paleo alphabet. So Garry, tell us about your verses, which is verses 113 to 120, please.
I hate double-minded men or two-faced, but I love your word or your law. You are my refuge and my shield. I have put my hope in your word. Get away from me, you wicked people and evildoers, that I may keep the commands of my God. Sustain me according to your promises, and I will live. Do not let my hopes be dashed. Upon me, and I will be delivered. I will always have regard for your decrees. You reject all who stray from your decrees, for their deceitfulness is in vain. All the wicked of the earth you discard like dross. Therefore I love your statutes. My flesh trembles in fear of you. I stand in awe of your laws. His life's obviously in danger, and evil people were chasing him, and and they're trying to get a reaction out of him to move away from God. And he's basically saying, I hate people who are two-faced or disregard to your law. I hate them, double-minded, because I love your word. He's just saying to God, I want to put my hope in your word because I want to keep your commandments. Please sustain me according to what you promised me. And it's given the strength, because he's almost at the end of his terror, I would reckon, really low,
Yes.
near his life in his hands all the time. And how easy it would be to turn away. Could easily just turn away from God and say, what have you done? What's going on here? Thought you're meant to help me. But he says, no, he says, you are my refuge. You're my quiet place of retreat, and your presence becomes my shield. Go and leave me, you workers of wickedness. Sustain me according to your promise. Strengthen my inner being by the promise of your word. And for me, it speaks about things I've been through as well. You can't figure out what's happening. Things are just going crazy, and the enemy's really after you, and circumstances are getting really serious. And it's like crying out to God, Lord, lift me up. I don't want to be any place where these people are contrary or speaking bad things or speaking negative that's affecting my life. I want to find refuge. I want to be in your word. I want to find that place of rest and safety, regardless of what's going on in my life. You are the way, the truth, and the life. You never change. You're the same yesterday, today, and forever. And you'll never leave me, forsake me, ever loosen your grip upon me. And I choose you. I choose not to follow the double-minded people. If you get involved with people in the world, it says it's bad company corrupts good character. That there could be these people coming in that are trying to be your friends, but they're deceitful. They're two-faced. I think that's what that means, is I hate double-minded men. Because it talks about that in James, doesn't it? A double-minded man is unstable in all he does.
That is so true, Garry. I think he's saying he doesn't want to be sinful. He doesn't want to open this door to evil, does he, and doing wrong.
I think it'd be so easy to open the door because of the pressure on him from what they're doing to him. And, it's basically saying, I feel like this, I feel like I'm going to die, my bones are gone, but yet I will praise you. He gets the strength. God says, when you're weak, I'm strong.
Yes.
And that's when you've got to rely on God's strength. But it's making that choice to it's about your mind, isn't it? To renew your mind, to set your heart on things above, your mind on Christ, and keep your mind healthy. Guard your heart above all else. Guard your heart. Out of the heart flows the issues and forces of life itself.
Yeah, he doesn't want to entertain thoughts that are not good, does he? That's what I think he's saying as well, listening to you.
Yeah, it opens his heart to what they're saying to him, what they're threatening. to do with his life, and it would destroy it, because out of the overflow of the heart, the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So he would get angry and start shouting at them and that. And I'll read a simpler version, see what you think.
Yes.
I despise those who can't keep commitments, for I passionately love your revelation light. You're my place of quiet retreat, and your wraparound presence becomes my shield as I wrap myself in your word. Go away from me, leave me, all you workers of wickedness, for you can't stop me from following every command of my God. Lord, strengthen my inner being by the promise of your word, so that I may live faithfully and unashamed for you. Lift me up, and I will be safe. Empower me to live every moment in the light of your ways. Lord, you reject those who reject your laws, but the fool no one but themselves. The wicked are thrown away, disregarded, and valueless. That's why I will keep loving all your laws. My body trembles in holy awe of you, leaving me speechless, for I'm frightened of your righteous judgments.
Yeah, I think we see here that he wants to live a holy life.
Yeah,
How do you think we live a holy life, Garry?
In the New Testament, it would be a holy life. It's all to do with relationship. To keep your whole heart focused on God and have that intimate relationship with him. Even when you wake up in the morning, circumstances might be fantastic, but to just come before him and just to speak with him and listen to his voice and know that even though you're going out into the world, he's within you every step of the way, and he wants to walk and talk with you in the cool of the day. And if we receive all God's grace, that gives us a power to walk in holiness, because we can't do it on our own strength. It's when we try and do things on our own strength, because it says the strength of sin is the law. And the law can't make you holy, but we're not under law, we're under grace. So sin shall not have authority or dominion over you. And I think it's all about the New Testament, the relationship, intimate relationship with Christ, walking with him and being holy. Whereas in the Old Testament, being holy was a different thing. It was a hard thing to do, it was more a physical thing. But now God sees us as holy and blameless, it says in Ephesians, in his sight, without reproach. And that's a lot to take in. Yes. But it's to really just realise what Christ has done, and just to pray and just to thank him for it. Sometimes we can pray for holiness and pray for that. I think it's good just to say, Lord, thank you that you chose me before the foundation of the world to be holy and blameless in your sight. And you've lavished your grace upon me. It's your good pleasure to do this. And when you realise and you receive all that love, that's when grace flows, like when Nicodemus come down off the tree when Christ gave him total grace, and he says, I'll pay 4 times back as much. And his heart was open, and and I think that's the whole thing, is getting that relationship with Christ.
Yes.
And it's not always going to be easy, because sometimes, God will shape your character and that, but it's to know the relationship that regardless is always, I keep saying that, I was tested on it and it was hard. Never let life speak louder than truth, because you can see things going on, and I could go and ask for prayer. Could you help this go right? Could you help that go right? But, you can't make everybody's traffic light go to green, when they're on the road. So it's like, oh, why did that not happen? Why did it get paid off? Why? It's just to be focused on truth, to set your mind, put your heart on things above. And, when you got the word in you, it brings you health and wholeness, and even to your very marrow, your bones. When you meditate on his word and you're listening to him, and it says we need every word that proceeds out of his mouth, for we don't live on bread alone, but be every word. And just to get that revelation, to see him better, to see what he's actually paid for, and to be in that refuge. And I get excited about that, but it's doing it. It's it's got to what It's good talking the talk, but it's walking the walk.
That's right, Garry.
Done to get up every day. And
that's right. And I think it is walking, like you said, having that relationship with God. And I think he's saying, you know, it's walking close to God, the psalmist is saying. He's not going to keep this evil, bad company. He doesn't want it. And sometimes we can get like enticed by worldly things and things that might grip us. And they're the things that can hinder that holy life. And I think he wants God's grace, because you read in, I think it was verses 116 and 117. He wants to uphold God's grace here. He wants to keep from sinning and doing wrong, because he's thinking of, you know, you mustn't neglect God's laws, but he wants to respect them, you know. And it's like if we go away from God, you know, then it's like an oversight here, a fallacy. And we know that it is God that has judgment on the wicked. But the psalmist had oppressors, but they had no power because God was on his side. Do you think that he sees, that he goes to God for that relief? Do you think he sees God as being bigger?
Yeah, but he's honest. He's honest in it. Like, if you translate that in modern day language, you know, it'd be, oh, come on, like, help, you know, I want to be, let me, sustain me. It's in your promises, sustain me. Come on, God, you know, help me. But he's keeping his heart right.
Yes.
And even though, you know, some other psalms, they'll pray. And it's keeping out of things that are, there's a Timothy, it talks about a soldier of Christ does not get involved in civilian affairs. And I think that's another crossover when we can get involved in politics or what's going on in the world and get distracted from serving Christ and start getting attitudes towards things and other people in politics. And then you get involved in the two-faced stuff and double-mindedness stuff. And it's so easy, but it says a good soldier of Christ does not get involved in civilian affairs.
Yes.
Doesn't
And Garry,
any mixture come in.
Yeah. And he talks about God sustaining him. Do you feel in life God has sustained you?
Yes, definitely. But there has been times of thinking, well, that's it. I can't do this anymore. But the next minute you're not fine, but God has sustained you, because you'll never loosen his grip upon you.
No.
And other things have come through. I'm thinking, how did I manage that? There's no way that would have happened if God wasn't with me. You know, there's no way I would have been totally, even though it looked like it was gone in places, things changed. And I see things come back to me now, that even physical things changed. And you think, there's no way that could happen. How did that happen? How did I manage to survive that?
Yes.
You know? Yeah. So it is a supernatural thing as well, that God, he's your shield. Keep that relationship and say, regardless how I feel, like the Psalms, I will praise you. You know, you will always be my shield.
Yes.
And you will always protect me. And instead you say, Lord, thank you. You're refreshing me. You're changing my character. Thank you that, Lord, that you use what you use what was meant for evil for good. You know, you start confessing the truth, not just in a religious way, but in a intimate relationship.
Yeah, and I think relationship, Garry, is important. And I really feel here that the psalmist could see that God was bigger and that he had God on his side. So, Garry, can I say thank you so much for talking to us today about this lovely stanza. Thank you, Garry.
Robert, thank you very much, Jeannie. Bye.